was just friendship, or at least that's what I thought. But the moment he held my hand, everything stopped. You know how most people forget who they sat next to in 7th grade science class? I never did, because that's when I met Eli. And everything, every weird, beautiful, painful, unforgettable part of my life began with him. It started simple. He had this messy brown hair that looked like he constantly ran his hands through it, even when he didn't. He always wore a hoodie, no matter the weather, and he had this way of leaning back in his chair like he was above the rules but still weirdly respectful of them. The first thing he ever said to me, "Is it just me, or do these frogs look disturbingly human?" We were supposed to be dissecting them. I laughed, even though I was grossed out. And from that moment on, we weren't just lab partners. We were something else. That was 5 years ago. We've been best friends ever since. Not the fake kind. The real kind. Late night FaceTime while your parents think you're asleep. Sharing fries without asking. Borrowing hoodies and not giving them back. We never missed each other's birthdays. Never fought for more than a day. Everyone said we were friendship goals. But I knew somewhere deep that I wanted more. I just didn't know if he did. Or if I was crazy for thinking the way he sometimes looked at me meant something. Cut to now. Senior year. Last semester. College application submitted. Freedom on the horizon. And me, still hopelessly in love with Eli. Still pretending like I wasn't. There was this one day, early spring. We were walking home from school. I remember it because he'd had a rough day. Coach benched him during soccer practice for showing up late. He didn't even argue, just threw his bag over his shoulder and left. When I caught up with him, he didn't say anything for the first 5 minutes. Then, out of nowhere, he said, "Do you ever feel like no one actually knows you?" That hit deeper than I expected. "Yeah," I said, "all the time." "Even you?" I looked at him. His eyes were unreadable, guarded. "Even me," I said. He gave me this strange smile, like something in him was relieved that I said that. And that's when I knew something was different. Later that night, I got a text from him. "Eli, you still up?" "Me, always." "Eli, come outside." I didn't ask questions. Just grabbed my hoodie and slipped out the back door. He was sitting on the hood of his car, parked across the street. Hoodie up, headphones around his neck. He looked sad, but calm. "What's going on?" I asked, climbing up next to him. He didn't answer at first. Just stared up at the stars like they were hiding answers he couldn't find down here. "I think I want to tell you something," he said eventually. "Okay, but I don't know how." "Try me?" He hesitated. I could literally feel his heartbeat through the silence. He turned to me, eyes wide and scared. "You ever think about what it'd be like if we weren't just friends?" The air around us froze. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. "Not in like a weird way," he added quickly, just like wondering. "Yeah," I said, "I've wondered." He looked stunned, like he didn't expect me to actually say it out loud. "You have?" "Yeah." His voice got quieter. "What if I told you I've wondered a lot more than I should have?" Before I could respond, a car drove by, headlights flashing across our faces, breaking the tension like glass. He climbed off the hood. "Forget I said anything," he muttered. I was tired, saying dumb stuff. "Eli, I'll see you tomorrow." And just like that, he was gone. I stayed on the hood a while longer, heart pounding, mouth dry, try to figure out if I'd just imagined the whole thing. Trying to figure out if maybe, just maybe, the thing I'd been dreaming about since freshman year was actually real. The next day at school, he acted like nothing happened. Not cold, not distant. Just, "Eli." Same inside jokes, same casual touches. But that conversation from last night, it hovered between us like smoke. Unseen, but impossible to ignore. Then came the message. At lunch, my phone buzzed. "Eli, meet me in the art room after last period." My heart basically tripped over itself. When I got there, the lights were off. The windows were half open, letting in that soft golden hour glow that makes everything feel like a dream. He was sitting at a desk, sketching something. Did I mention he draws? Because Eli doesn't just draw. He creates, usually landscapes, abstracts, stuff with sharp edges and blurred colors. But this time, it was different. It was two hands, intertwined, mine and his. He looked up at me, didn't speak, just let me stare at the drawing, and then, softly, I keep trying to ignore this, but I can't anymore. You don't have to. You're not weirded out? Only that it took you this long to say it. That was the moment, the shift, the second the story turned. And I knew, whatever this was, it was real, and it was happening. But just as we started to lean into the moment, the door creaked open. We froze. In the doorway, a shadow, watching, and then it disappeared. Eli went pale. Who was that? I asked. I don't know. He shoved his sketchbook in his bag like he was erasing what just happened. Maybe this was a mistake, he whispered. Eli, we need to be careful. And just like that, he was gone again. I stood there alone, heartbeat in my ears. And in that silence, one thing was clear. Someone saw us. And now, nothing would be the same. If you've ever had a best friend who felt like more, you already know how dangerous a single moment can be. If you ever had a best friend you felt more for, tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And yeah, make sure you're following, because what happens next? Neither of us were ready for it. The next morning, Eli didn't sit next to me in homeroom. He always did, even when we were fighting, even when he had early practice. But that morning, his desk stayed empty. At first, I thought maybe he was late. But then I saw him across the room. He sat in the back, alone, hoodie up, head down, avoiding eye contact like I was something radioactive. We didn't talk all day, not at lunch, not after sixth period when we usually walked together. He just vanished. No text, no explanation, just silence. By the time I got home, I couldn't focus on anything. Every time my phone buzzed, my chest jumped. Every time it didn't, it sank, and then it finally lit up. But it wasn't from Eli. It was from an unknown number. Unknown. He's in danger. You both are. Stop before it gets worse. I froze. My hands went numb. I read it 5 times. Then once more, just to make sure I didn't imagine it. I texted back. Me, who is this? No response. The next day at school, Eli was still distant. During lunch, I finally cornered him near the vending machines. Why are you avoiding me? I'm not. You literally moved seats. Don't do this here. His eyes darted around like he was being watched. Then where? Nowhere. Just drop it, Ryan. The way he said my name, like it hurt to say it. That's when I knew something wasn't just wrong. It was dangerous. That evening, I went back to our old texts, our inside jokes, late-night confessions, pictures from our last birthday rooftop hangout. It all felt like a different life, one that was slipping away. Then another message came. Unknown, he's lying to protect you, but he can't protect you forever. Unknown, asked him about the photo. The photo? What photo? I didn't reply this time. Instead, I went looking. Back in freshman year, Eli had a private Instagram. Not many people followed it. Just me and maybe 4 others. He never posted anymore, but something told me to check. And there it was. A photo, buried deep. A picture of the 2 of us on his garage roof, stargazing. But it wasn't the photo that shook me. It was a caption. The only place I ever feel like I can breathe. It was posted 3 years ago. But someone had commented. Yesterday, a single word. Liar. The account was private. No profile pic. No followers. Just that comment. The next day, I waited for Eli after school. Blocked his way by the parking lot. I got a message. I said quietly, about you, about the photo. His eyes widened. Where? From someone anonymous. They said you're in danger. That we both are. He stepped back. You shouldn't be involved. Too late. Please, Ryan. Just trust me, okay? Then stop pushing me away. Tell me what's going on. He looked like he wanted to cry. But instead, he said nothing. He just got in his car and drove off. That night, I couldn't sleep. My window was open. The wind was loud. The silence louder. Then something hit the glass. I jumped. I walked over, looked down. Eli was standing there, hoodie on, same as the night this all started. I ran downstairs and opened the door. He looked exhausted, pale, but his eyes, they were soft again. Familiar. He didn't say anything, just held up a folded piece of paper. What's this? Just read it. Not here. Tomorrow. Alone. Why not now? Because once you read it, things change. He looked at me one last time, like he wanted to say something more. But then he turned and walked into the night. Back in my room, I held the paper for an hour before opening it. But when I finally did, my hands shook. Inside was a drawing. Another one of his. 2 boys, clearly us, sitting on a rooftop under the stars. But this time we were holding hands. And beneath it, he'd written, I should have told you what happened that night, but I was scared. Tomorrow I'll try again. That's when I realized there was a night something happened. Something Eli never told me. And now, someone else knew. I didn't sleep. I kept replaying Eli's words in my head. I should have told you what happened that night, but I was scared. The rooftop, the moment we held hands for the first time, the kiss that almost happened, and the door that creaked open, that shadow in the hallway, watching. Someone had seen us, someone we never identified. And now, it was starting to feel like they never went away. By the time I got to school the next day, Eli was already there. He looked like he hadn't slept either. His hoodie was wrinkled, his hair messier than usual, but his eyes, they locked onto me the second I walked in. We didn't speak in the hallway. We waited until lunch. I found him behind the art building, our old hideout. He was leaning against the wall, sketchbook in hand. You read it? He asked. I nodded. What happened, Eli? What did you mean by that night? He closed the sketchbook. You remember when someone opened the door? Yeah. It wasn't a random student. Who was it? Mr. Adler. I froze. The vice principal? Yeah. My stomach flipped. Wait, he saw us? Eli nodded. He saw us holding hands. Saw the drawing. Everything. But why wouldn't he say anything? Eli looked down. Because he didn't have to. He took a shaky breath. Later that week, he called me into his office. Alone. What did he say? Nothing at first. Just stared at me. Then he pulled out your name. I felt like the ground was shifting under me. He said if I kept acting confused, he'd make sure both of us had a hard time getting into college. Said there are rules about inappropriate behavior. Even threatened to talk to our parents. What the hell? I told him we were just friends. That nothing happened. He just smiled and said, Good, keep it that way. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Mr. Adler, the guy who always gave fake supportive speeches during assemblies, blackmailed Eli? Why didn't you tell me? Because I thought I could handle it. I didn't want to drag you down, too. You didn't drag me anywhere. He looked at me, finally, eyes filled with guilt and something deeper. You were the only thing that felt safe. I didn't want to ruin that. We sat there for a moment, both quiet, both broken in different ways. Then I said, You didn't ruin anything, but he might. That day, things got worse. Way worse. Someone leaked the sketch, the one with our hands. It was taped to the inside of my locker, in black marker. Someone had written across the top, Looks like someone likes boys. Underneath, laughing emojis, slurs, my name, by 4th period. People were whispering, not loudly, but enough. Some stared, some avoided eye contact. And when I finally found Eli, he looked destroyed. They posted it. I said, he nodded. I know. Someone texted me a picture. You think it was Adler? Or someone working with him? I don't know. I wanted to scream, to tear the whole sketch off every locker and shove it in Adler's face. But I didn't, because Eli was shaking, and I knew what this was doing to him. That night, he didn't text. I waited, watched, worried, but my phone stayed silent. Until 2:11 a.m. Eli, can you come out? Me, where are you? Eli, garage roof. Our spot. I climbed up and found him sitting there, legs crossed, arms around his knees like he was trying to make himself disappear. He didn't look at me at first, just whispered, I think I'm going to tell the truth. I sat down beside him. You don't have to do it alone. But what if it ruins everything? Then we rebuild. He finally looked at me. You're not mad that I drag you into this? You didn't drag me. I walked into it. With you. He smiled then, just barely. And in that moment, beneath the stars, he reached over and grabbed my hand. Not like last time. This time, he didn't let go. But down below, we didn't know. Someone was watching. Again, a phone camera pointed straight up at us, silently recording. The video goes public. And now everything's on the line, including Eli's future. I should have known it wouldn't stay between us. The moment he held my hand again, out on that roof, someone had already seen, already hit record. And by the time I woke up the next morning, it was too late to stop what was coming. I knew something was off the moment I got to school. People weren't just whispering anymore. They were staring, avoiding, snickering, or worse, smirking, like they knew something I didn't yet. I checked my phone, and there it was, a link, a stupid YouTube short, just 14 seconds long, a shaky video of two boys on a roof, Eli and me, holding hands, leaning into each other, a caption flashing across the bottom in bold white letters. Bro said just friend skull, and the title? Gay rooftop love confession, loudly crying face rainbow flag, #exposed. My hands went ice cold. I clicked the comments. Is that Eli? The soccer guy? This is actually kind of cute NGL. Damn bro, switch teams for real. The one in the hoodie is fine though fire, not the varsity player being fruity. Who's filming though? The last one stuck with me. Because yeah, who was filming? Someone had followed him. Or followed us, and they wanted it public. I checked my texts. Nothing from Eli. I thought maybe he hadn't seen it yet, until he walked into school, and I saw his face. He had. He looked shell-shocked, not angry, not sad, just empty. His usual hoodie was gone. He wore a plain black t-shirt, arms tense like he couldn't breathe in his own skin. I followed him into the boys' bathroom. Yet dramatic, I know. But I had no choice. He stood by the sink, gripping the edge like it might hold him up. Eli. He didn't look at me. They posted it. I know. Did you see the comments? I saw everything. Who filmed it? Probably someone who followed me that night. I should have known better. He turned around finally. His eyes were glassy, red, not from crying, from trying not to. My mom called me this morning, he said quietly. Someone sent it to her, anonymously. Oh my God. She didn't say anything, just asked if I wanted to talk. And did you? No. What would I even say? I stepped closer. You'd say the truth. What truth? That I like boys? That I kiss my best friend? That I'm one trending # away from losing my soccer scholarship? Eli, I don't regret holding your hand, Ryan, but I regret that someone else made his show. That hit hard. He wasn't ashamed of me. He was ashamed that we were stolen from. Our moment turned into someone's idea of entertainment. By lunchtime, the video had spread. It wasn't viral. But in a high school, that's not the point. It was everywhere. Even teachers knew. One of them, Mr. Davis, tried to act like nothing was happening, but the way he looked at us during roll call said everything. Some people reached out with support. Lily from theater gave me a sticky note that said, "That video? Beautiful. Don't let anyone shame you." Others, not so kind. One guy, Nate, a backup soccer defender, walked by and fake coughed faggots under his breath in the hallway. I turned to go after him. Eli grabbed my arm. Don't. That's what they want. The weirdest part? Some people thought it was a prank. One girl even stopped us by the vending machine. OMG, are you guys, like, faking this for attention? Excuse me. I said, no offense, but like, you're hot, Eli. You're too straight for this. Eli didn't say a word, just walked away. And for once, I didn't follow. That night, he texted me. Eli, you still up? Me, always. Eli, want to talk? He showed up 10 minutes later. We sat in my room, lights off, silence thick, until he said, I think I need to tell you the whole truth. I nodded, waited, let him speak when he was ready. It wasn't just Adler who threatened me. Wait, what? After that night in the art room, someone left a note in my locker. What did it say? He reached into his jacket, pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. On it, scribbled in red ink, back off your little boyfriend or we post the truth. I thought it was just some dumb joke. But then a second note showed up with a printout of us on the garage roof. My blood ran cold. Someone's been following you for months? He nodded. They knew. Before I even admitted it to myself. They knew. I sat beside him. This wasn't just about embarrassment or high school gossip. It was blackmail, stalking, harassment. We have to tell someone. I said, who? My mom barely knows I exist. Adler wants me gone. The school doesn't care. What about your coach? He's a God made Adam and Eve type. You think he's going to defend me? We sat there in silence. Then he whispered, maybe I should leave. What do you mean? Transfer. Start fresh. Somewhere else. Somewhere no one knows. I shook my head. You don't run from people like this, Eli. You expose them. And then what? Get kicked off the team? Humiliated even more? You think they'll believe us over the vice principal? We'll make them believe. You're not alone in this. He looked at me, that gaze I knew too well. Scared, vulnerable, but finally trusting. I don't want to lose you. You're not going to. Even if I do something crazy. Try me? He leaned in, paused just inches from me. And this time, he kissed me. For real. Not panicked. Not rushed. Just us. Finally. But nothing gold stays, right? Because while we were there, eyes closed, hearts open, someone else was knocking. Loud. Angry. His dad. The door burst open. I barely had time to pull back before his father stepped inside, red-faced and shouting. What the hell is this? Eli jumped his feet. Dad, I was just... Don't lie to me. You think I don't know what's going on. He looked at me, disgusted. This what you turn my son into? Sir, get out, now, and don't come back. Eli tried to speak, tried to defend, but his voice broke. His dad yelled louder, slammed the wall, and I left because I knew if I stayed, it would only get worse. Outside, I called my mom to pick me up. I didn't cry until I got into the car. The next morning, Eli didn't show up at school. No texts, no updates, nothing. But I knew something had snapped. Eli disappears, and Ryan makes a risky move to find him, uncovering a truth no one expected. Eli didn't come to school the next day, or the day after that. No texts, no posts, no sign of life. He vanished. I messaged him, over and over. Me, where are you? Me, please just let me know you're okay. Me, I don't care what happened. Just talk to me. Nothing. I tried calling once. It rang twice, then straight to voicemail. After that, it stopped ringing at all. It felt like he'd been erased. His locker hadn't been opened. His car wasn't in the lot. His seat in homeroom sat untouched, like a silent reminder that something was missing. Something important. Something no one else seemed to be talking about. It was like the school wanted to pretend it never happened. Like they could wipe away the video, the whispers, the truth, by simply acting like Eli never existed. But I couldn't. I wouldn't. After school, I went to his house. I stood across the street for a long time, watching. Curtains closed. Garage shut. No sign of movement. Then I saw it. A light flickering in the upstairs window. His room. I crossed the street. But just as I reached the driveway, the porch light snapped on. His dad stepped outside. eyes bloodshot, face stone cold. You need to go. Is Eli here? Does it look like he is? I just want to make sure he's okay. He's fine. He doesn't need you. With all due respect, sir, I think I get to decide that. His jaw clenched. He left. That's all you need to know. Don't come back. He slammed the door before I could say another word. Left? What did that even mean? To where? For how long? Why? That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the wind beat against my window. I reached under my pillow and pulled out the last note he gave me, the drawing of us holding hands under the stars. And for the first time, I noticed something I hadn't before. Tiny letters, barely visible, etched in pencil near the bottom corner. A single word, Trestle. Trestle. It was the name of the old train bridge outside town. We used to sneak there during summers, sit under the metal beams, legs dangling, watching the river move. It was our hideout, the place where we first talked about life beyond this town, where Eli once said, if I ever disappear, check here first. I got up, threw on my hoodie, left a note for my mom, and biked there. It took 25 minutes to reach the bridge. The sky was already dark, stars faint above the trees. I hid my bike in the brush and walked to the edge of the trestle. Nothing, just the sound of water. Then, a rustle. From underneath, I climbed down the side path, heart pounding, and stepped under the beams. And there he was, sitting on an old blanket, headphones in, sketchbook in his lap, back against one of the support beams, like he'd been there forever. When he saw me, he flinched. Ryan, you left. I had to. Why didn't you tell me? Because I knew you'd follow. And I didn't want you to get pulled into this. Too late for that. He looked thinner, paler, like he hadn't eaten or slept properly in days. Are you living here? No, just staying here during the day. Crashing at a friend's place at night. You've got people worried. I'm worried. You shouldn't be. I am. I sat down across from him. Neither of us said anything for a long time. Then I asked, why Trestle? He opened the sketchbook, flipped a few pages, showed me a drawing of the two of us sitting exactly where we were now, because this was the only place I ever felt free. I wanted to hug him, hold him, tell him it would be okay. But I could tell he wasn't ready yet. You can't hide here forever, Eli. I'm not hiding. I'm deciding. Deciding what? He looked up, eyes darker than I'd ever seen them. Whether I fight back or disappear for real. I didn't answer, because I didn't know what to say. All I knew was that if he disappeared for real, something in me would disappear too. Eventually, I convinced him to walk back with me. We cut through a park to avoid main roads, under one street lamp. He stopped walking. Do you regret it? Regret what? Us. That night. The hand. The kiss. No, not even now, with everything wrecked. Especially now. He smiled just slightly, and then, suddenly, we heard footsteps. Fast. Heavy. We spun around, just in time to see a figure dart behind the trees. A shadow. Watching again. Was that? Same guy from the roof. I know it. He's following us. Or following me. We ran to the street, checked over our shoulders. No one. Back at my place, I sneaked him inside. My mom was asleep. Lights off. We sat in my room, quiet. He curled up on the beanbag near the window. You can sleep here tonight. Thanks. You're safe now. For now. I started to doze off, but then I heard it, the soft chime of my phone. A message from another unknown number. I unlocked it and froze. A picture of me and Eli, taken tonight, walking through the park. From behind, the caption read, "You really thought he'd be safe with you? The stalker is getting bolder, and the next move could expose everything. We were just friends until he held my hand, part 6. They know where we are now." The photo didn't come with a location tag, but I didn't need one. The way it was angled, from behind a tree, just outside the park path, meant whoever took it had been close. Real close. I stared at the message for a full minute before I showed Eli. He sat up straight on the beanbag, squinting at the image. "That's the night," he said, voice barely above a whisper. Yeah, they were watching us. His shoulders dropped like the air had been knocked out of him. I thought we were being careful. I paced my room, my heart racing. They want us scared. "It's working," Eli admitted. We both knew this was more than just bullying now. This was stalking, and it wasn't going to stop on its own. The next morning, I called in sick to school. My mom didn't ask too many questions. She thought I was heartbroken over Eli. If only she knew. Eli stayed hidden in my room all day. Curtains closed. Lights off. He barely ate, barely moved. He kept drawing, though, page after page. I watched as he sketched outlines of people. Boys who looked like us. Holding hands. Running. Hiding. Crying. I wanted to do something. Anything to help, but everything felt fragile. So I waited. I sat with him. And for now, that was enough. Until my phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. "Still think you're safe in suburbia? Look out your window." I jumped off the bed and yanked open the curtain. Across the street, a figure stood just beyond the edge of a neighbor's yard. Hoodie pulled tight, phone in hand. Watching. Eli looked too. That's him. I know it. I didn't wait. I grabbed my phone and hit record as I bolted out the front door. My socks hit the pavement hard as I ran across the street. "Hey!" The figure didn't flinch, just turned and ran. I followed, past mailboxes and parked cars, down the sidewalk, into the woods at the end of the cul-de-sac. Branches whipped my face. My lungs burned, but I kept running, until I tripped, fell, hard. When I looked up, he was gone. I limped back to the house, scraped up, furious. Eli met me at the door. "Are you okay?" He got away. He helped me clean up in the bathroom. As he dabbed at the blood on my knee, he said, "We have to go to someone." "Who?" He looked at me. "Your mom." I hesitated. I didn't want to drag her into this. But what other choice did we have? That night, I sat my mom down. Eli sat next to me. I told her everything. The sketch, the video, Mr. Adler, the notes, the stalking. To her credit, she didn't interrupt. She listened, and when we finished, she looked at Eli and said, "You're staying here as long as you need." I blinked. "What about school?" She took a breath. "We'll figure it out. But first, we report this. To the school, to the police, whoever we need." I nodded. My chest felt like it could finally breathe, until my mom added, "But you both need to understand, once this starts, it won't go back to normal. Not ever." Eli looked at me, and I looked right back. I don't want normal. I want the truth. The next morning, we filed a report. My mom drove us to the station. We sat in a beige-walled office while a tired-looking officer took our statements. He asked for screenshots, for the paper notes, for the photo. He nodded a lot, wrote even more. But I could tell he thought this was just high school drama. "You kids and your internet," he muttered. Still, he agreed to send someone to talk to the school, promised to open a file. It was something. Not enough, but something. We didn't go to school that day. Instead, we went back to the trestle. This time, together. We sat on the edge and watched the river. Talked about everything but what was happening. Favorite movies. Songs. The dumb things we used to say when we were 12. For a moment, it almost felt like before. Then Eli reached over and held my hand again. Not because we were hiding, but because we weren't afraid to be seen. And this time, no one was watching. Or so we thought. Because later that night, a new photo was posted. This one from behind. A long lens. Same caption style. Back at it again. Thought they were safe. This wasn't just a game to someone. It was an obsession. And it was only getting worse. They take the case to the school, but instead of help, they uncover a connection that changes everything. The next morning, we walked back into school like we hadn't just been hunted down by someone with a camera, or called the police, or gotten our vice principal involved in a possible cover-up. But we had. Every step down the hallway felt heavier than usual. Heads turned. Some stared longer than others. I couldn't tell what they were thinking. Pity, curiosity, disgust, or maybe just boredom. You never really know what people are capable of hiding behind polite silence. Eli walked beside me. His hood was pulled low, and he hadn't said much since we left the house. Maybe 5 words total. But his hand brushed against mine once in the hallway, just barely, like a silent reminder, I'm still here. By the end of first period, we got called to the office, but not by a teacher, by Mr. Adler. His office was cold, cleaner than before, like someone had tried too hard to make it look normal. Sit, he said, gesturing without looking up. We sat. His fingers were laced together on the desk. Calm, too calm. I understand you filed some reports, he began. We had no choice, I said. We're being followed. And you've accused me of harassment? Eli shifted in his seat. You cornered me. You told me to keep my mouth shut. That's harassment. Adler's lips twitched like he wanted to laugh. I told you to be smart, to avoid drawing attention to yourself, for your own safety. My safety. Eli's voice cracked. You let someone into the school, someone outside, and now we're getting pictures sent to us from our own street. Adler's eyes narrowed slightly. He didn't deny it. Unless you can provide proof, he said carefully, I suggest you stop spreading rumors. We do have proof, I said, pulling out a flash drive, security footage. The guy you let in, we've seen him on camera. 3 times. Unregistered. That was the first time he flinched. I think this conversation is over, he said suddenly. You're both excused. He stood up before we could even respond. We walked out of the office in silence. The door clicked shut behind us like a warning. He's hiding something, Eli muttered. He looked scared. I added, that's new. We need to figure out who that guy is. Fast. Later that day, we met Lily behind the old theater wing, the one nobody really used anymore. She had her hood up and a camera bag slung over one shoulder. She was one of the last people still talking to us like we were human. I heard Adler called you in, she said, offering us both half a PB&J sandwich. He's sweating, I said, but not enough. We need access to the hallway cameras outside his office, Eli said. We already got one video, but we're looking for more angles. You're an AV club, right? She blinked. You want me to commit actual cybercrime? We'll owe you, I said. She exhaled deeply. Fine, but if I get expelled for this. You won't. We promise. The next day, she handed us a USB drive hidden inside a gum packet. 3 different angles. All footage from last week. Watch it at home. That night we did. My mom was working late again, and Eli sat beside me on my bed, staring at the screen as we fast-forwarded through hours of grainy hallway footage. There he was, Eli walking into Adler's office. 5 minutes later, the tall guy in a dark hoodie slipped in right behind him. His face never looked toward the camera, but his posture, stiff, anxious, stood out. Then Adler came out of his office and looked down the hall, like checking for witnesses, and waved the guy in. He knew him. He invited him. Eli whispered. Yeah, he did. The man stayed in Adler's office for over 10 minutes. We watched Eli leave afterward, his face pale, eyes down. That was the day Adler warned him. We scrolled further. More footage, more dates. That same man appeared 2 other times on different days. No visitor badge. No sign-in. Just there. One clip even showed him standing outside the gym, holding his phone up, aiming at the crowd, aiming it at us. We took it all to the police the next day. The same officer, as before, looked more interested this time. So this individual appears to be accessing school property multiple times, he asked. Yep, I said, and we have no idea who he is. But Adler does, Eli added. The officer frowned. This is enough to escalate. We'll reach out to the school board. You believe us now? I asked. We believe something is happening, and we're going to find out what. Back at school, Adler was gone. His office had a handwritten sign taped to the glass. On leave, indefinitely. No explanation. No email. No warning. Students buzzed with theories. But no one knew the truth. No one but us. That afternoon, Eli and I sat at the trestle bridge again. It had become our escape, our safe zone. He dangled his legs over the edge, looking down at the water. His hoodie was pulled back. The late sun painted gold on his cheeks. "Do you think this will ever be normal again?" he asked. "I hope not," I replied. "I don't want to go back to pretending nothing happened, even if it means more chaos. Especially then." He chuckled softly, then leaned over and rested his head on my shoulder. We sat like that for a long time, just listening to the wind, the water, and the thrum of our own hearts. It felt like peace, for the first time in weeks, until we got home and found a package on the front step. No label, no name. Eli picked it up slowly, shook it, no sound. I opened it. Inside, a small worn notebook, the kind used for sketches. Eli's sketchbook, the one he left in his locker 2 weeks ago, after everything went viral and he disappeared. But it was the last page that froze us both. A drawing. Us. On the trestle bridge. From behind. Drawn in charcoal. From a high vantage point. Too high for a normal camera. Next to it, a message. Pretty view from up here. Can't wait to see how it ends. We backed away from the porch instantly, scanning the rooftops, the woods, the telephone poles. Nothing. No movement. But someone had been watching. Again. Inside, Eli collapsed on the couch. He didn't say anything. He just stared at the drawing. Hands shaking. "He's still out there," he whispered. "And he's getting closer." "We'll stop him," I said. "We're not alone anymore." But he's been everywhere. At school. At the bridge. At your house. Then we start fighting smarter. That night, I wrote down everything. Every detail. Every message. Every date. Every conversation. We built a story, a trail, and the ending was getting closer. But the question wasn't just who was watching. It was why. Why Eli? Why us? And how much further would they go to keep the truth buried? They traced the sketchbook's return to an unexpected source. Someone inside the school. But before they can act, the stalker makes their boldest move yet. The sketchbook sat on the table between us, like a trap waiting to be triggered. Eli hadn't touched it since we opened the package. He just stared at it, not blinking, not breathing, as if afraid that turning the next page would invite something worse. "It's your sketchbook," I said softly. "Yeah," he replied, still not looking away. "But I didn't draw that last page." I nodded. I already knew that. The strokes were different, rougher, more rushed. The lines weren't his. Someone had watched us again. And instead of a photo, they wanted to leave a message in Eli's own voice. Like they were inside his mind now. I picked up the notebook and flipped through it again. Every sketch, until that final one, was Eli's. All soft eyes and open hands. All boys who looked like him, or me, or some blurry version of us in between. But the last drawing, us on the bridge, drawn from a high angle, it wasn't love. It was a threat. I took a deep breath. Someone had to drop this off. Someone who knew where we live. Maybe even someone who had access to your locker 2 weeks ago. Eli finally met my eyes. "You think it's someone from school. I think it's someone who knows you. Knows us. Maybe someone we've already talked to." We both looked at the notebook again. Then he whispered, "We need to go back." The next morning, we went to school early, before the parking lot even filled. Lily met us near the back gate, bleary-eyed and holding a coffee that looked like it weighed more than she did. "If this end would mean detention, I want full credit for the documentary when it goes viral," she grumbled. "We think someone used Eli's locker to steal and return the sketchbook," I explained. "His old one's been empty since he left," she said, furrowing her brow. "Exactly. That's what makes it the perfect hiding spot." She sighed. "Let's break into it." We found a teacher's key ring in the AV room. Lily had borrowed it for camera closet access. At least that's what the sticky note said. It worked on Eli's locker. The door creaked open slowly, like it hadn't been touched in weeks. Nothing inside, except a folded piece of paper on the top shelf. I reached up and unfolded it. Black marker, messy handwriting. You should have stayed quiet. Now everyone's watching. We froze. This wasn't just a stalker. It was someone inside our world, inside the school, inside our space. We need to find out who had access to this locker, I said. Or who knew the combo before he left, Lily added. Eli took a step back, rubbing his arms. I gave my combo to Jake once, he said, back when we used to hang out. My stomach twisted. Jake, the guy who used to sit at our lunch table, who stopped talking to Eli the day the first sketch went viral. He ghosted you. I reminded Eli, yeah, but he didn't seem angry, just distant. That's worse, Lily muttered. Silent guys are the creepiest. We waited. During fourth period, Jake walked into the cafeteria alone. He sat 2 tables away from where we used to sit together. We approached. Hey, I said, sliding into the seat across from him. His eyes flicked up, defensive immediately. I didn't do anything, he said. We didn't ask anything yet, Eli replied. Doesn't matter. Everyone's acting like I'm some psycho. Did you go into Eli's locker? No, a pause. Not recently. He stared at Eli. I just missed him. Okay? But then everything changed. The art, the rumors. His voice trailed off. So you stopped talking to him? Because I didn't know what to say. And I figured you didn't want to talk to me either. Then why is a sketchbook back at my house? I asked, with a drawing of us from yesterday? Jake's jaw clenched. I didn't draw anything. I swear. But what? He hesitated. There's someone else. Someone who asked me for your locker combo. Said they were worried about Eli. That they wanted to get his stuff to him. Who? Eli asked. Jake swallowed hard. Mr. Adler. We sat in silence for several seconds. The whole room felt colder now. He asked for the combo? I asked again, carefully. Yeah, back in the fall. Said he was cleaning out and used lockers. I thought it was normal. And you just gave it to him? He's admin. I didn't think twice. Lily leaned in. So Mr. Adler had Eli's combo. He had the locker. He had the sketchbook. And he had access to the cameras, I added. But he's gone now, Eli said. So why is this still happening? None of us had an answer. Later that night, Eli and I sat on the roof of my garage. We used to sneak up here when we were younger, back when we just talked about dumb movies and school drama and never about real danger. Now we were 17 and afraid for our lives. Do you think Adler's still involved? Eli asked, his voice barely a whisper. If he isn't, someone he worked with might be. Someone with the same agenda. Which is, I sighed, to silence you. Maybe not just you. Maybe anyone who sees the truth. He stared up at the stars. It's weird, he said. When I was younger, I used to wish someone would see me, for who I was. Now someone's watching, and it feels like a nightmare. You wanted to be seen, not hunted. Exactly. I looked at him, his profile against the moonlight, his hands in his lap, fidgeting slightly. I see you, I said. He turned, slowly. And I'm not going anywhere. For the first time in hours, Eli smiled. Then hold my hand, he said. So I did. The next morning, I found something on my car windshield. A photo. Eli and me, on the garage roof. Same angle. Same handwriting on the back. He held your hand. Now it's my turn. I nearly dropped it. Eli wasn't even with me. I had to sprint inside and wake him. He looked at the photo and didn't speak for a long time. Then he whispered. He was that close. And we didn't hear a thing. He's done watching. I said, he wants us to know he's there now. So, what do we do? I folded the photo and looked him straight in the eye. We fight back. They set a trap to catch the stalker. But when it springs, the truth is even worse than they imagined. Someone they trusted all along has been playing both sides. We were done playing defense. That morning, after the photo was found on my windshield, Eli and I made a decision. No more hiding. No more waiting for someone to strike. We were going to set a trap. The plan was simple. Use what he wanted, us, and give him a show, a moment worth capturing. We'd make it look spontaneous, romantic, vulnerable, and we'd do it in the same place he'd already been, the Trestle Bridge. Lily helped set up the cameras. Her AV Club access came in handy again, and this time, we didn't even bother hiding our intentions. She brought 2 wildlife cams with night vision, mounted discreetly into the trees. One faced the bridge. The other pointed down the trail, hidden under leaves. "You better dedicate your first Oscar to me," she said while adjusting the lens. "This might actually get us killed," Eli replied. "Then it'll be a tragic masterpiece. Either way, I win." We waited until Friday night, the same day the school finally released a vague statement about a former administrator under investigation. No names, no details, just a thin veil that said, "We're pretending to care." Eli and I walked to the bridge just after sundown. He was quiet the whole way. He hadn't held my hand since the roof photo. I think we both felt like it wasn't safe anymore. But the second we stepped onto the wood planks, under that fading golden sky, he reached out and gripped my fingers tight. "If this is a trap," he said, "I'm glad I'm walking into it with you." I swallowed hard. I wanted to say something deep, something comforting, but all that came out was, "Same." He smiled. We sat on the edge of the bridge, legs swinging. The air was thick and still. 30 minutes passed. Then 40. Nothing. What if he doesn't come? Eli asked. "Then we try again tomorrow," I said. He exhaled. "I hate this." "I know." I just wanted to draw, to be normal, to fall in love, not run from someone who thinks I'm a threat. You're not a threat. You're a mirror. That's scarier. What does that mean? It means you show people who they are without trying. That terrifies small minds. He looked at me like I just handed him a key to something inside him. Then he kissed me. No build-up, no hesitation. Just soft lips, slow pressure, trembling fingers on my cheek. I kissed him back. Not just because it felt right, but because I wanted him to feel safe again, even if we were being watched. Even if the trap had already been triggered. The cameras didn't catch him, but they caught something. A dark blur just off the path. A shift in the tree line. Barely visible, but it was enough. The next morning, Lily brought the footage. "It's him," she whispered. He was there, watching. "Did you see a face?" "No, but he was holding something. A phone, or a remote." She paused, frowning. "Wait, that angle." He was standing almost under one of the school's trail cams, the ones only admin have access to. I said slowly. Eli's face paled. "You think someone at the school is still helping him?" I think Adler wasn't working alone. We went back to the footage, not the bridge. The hallway cams Lily had copied. This time, we looked for something else. Patterns, interactions, faces we hadn't questioned. That's when we found it. Coach Harlan, the assistant football coach. Always friendly, always invisible. We saw him talking to Adler in the office hallway. At least 4 times. Always late in the day. Always looking around first. In one clip, he handed Adler something. A phone. We brought the footage to the officer handling our case. He watched it silently, hands folded on the desk. "Coach Harlan?" he asked. He was never on our radar. I admitted, but he had access. Keys, cameras, and he coached Eli for 2 years. The officer leaned back. "We'll look into him immediately. Good work." "If it's him," Eli said, voice cracking, "what does he want from us?" "That's the question," the officer replied. "But you might have already found the answer. That afternoon, we got a text from a blocked number. 'Nice try, but you're looking at the wrong person.' Attached was a photo of us on the bridge, kissing from above, not from the tree line, from the sky. A drone shot. My stomach twisted. He wasn't in the trees. I whispered. He was above us the whole time. Eli gripped my arm. This means he's watching everything, even when we think we're being careful. He's not afraid anymore. He's showing off, which means we're close. We went home and dug deeper into school records, teacher schedules, even drone license registries. And then we found it. Coach Harlan, licensed drone operator for sports footage. He even listed it on his public resume site. Eli stared at the screen like it burned. He filmed our practices. He filmed you. I corrected from the start. That night we couldn't sleep. We sat in the living room, lights off, sketchbook on the table. Eli started drawing again for the first time in weeks. I didn't interrupt. He drew the bridge, then the woods, then two figures beneath a dark sky. Us. He looked up. I want to finish this. The drawing, the story, then let's end it. At school the next day, Coach Harlan didn't show up. Rumor said he was out sick, but we knew better. That evening we got another package. Inside, a single drone propeller and a note, game over. You lose. But the mistake? He sent it to Eli's locker, the one he hadn't used in a month, which meant he was still inside. They finally confront the man behind the camera, but nothing prepares them for what he says. Because the real reason he targeted Eli, it was never about hate. It was personal. The drone propeller lay on Eli's desk, glinting under his lamp like a trophy we didn't want. He hadn't spoken in 20 minutes. The note was still sitting beside it, that 5-word message burning itself into our thoughts. Game over. You lose. But if it really was over, why send a warning? Why leave a part of the machine behind? He's mocking us, I said, trying to make us stop digging. Eli finally spoke, his voice hoarse. Or he's scared we're about to find out who he really is. And we were. That night, we went back to everything. All the footage, all the notes, all the drawings. And something finally clicked. Not just what was done, but how it was done. The drone footage, the sketch insert, the message wording, even the way he wrote Eli's name in the notes. It all felt personal, not random, not like a stranger lashing out online. This was someone who knew Eli, someone who once cared and now felt betrayed. It's not just about stalking, I said. It's emotional. This guy, he feels like Eli did something to him. Eli's brow furrowed. I never hurt anyone. Not directly. But sometimes being honest about yourself makes other people feel exposed too. He went still, completely still, then almost too softly. There was one guy from last year we used to draw together after school. He wasn't out. Who? His name was Caleb. We searched everything. Socials, yearbooks, club rosters. Caleb was a senior last year. Quiet. Art club. No online presence. No public photos. But Eli remembered something else. He used to work as Coach Harlan's assistant, helping with tech. He was really into gadgets. Told me once he built his own drone. And now Harlan's using drones too. Maybe they stayed in contact. It made sense. Too much sense. Caleb wasn't angry because Eli came out. He was angry because he couldn't. The next day, we went back to the police. This time, we gave them Caleb's name, photos of the drone footage, and the letter sent to Eli's locker. The officer's expression turned grim. We've already been tracking Coach Harlan, he said. And this gives us someone else to bring in. Do you think they're working together? I asked. Or Harlan's covering for him, Eli added. Either way, you need to be careful, the officer warned. Don't engage. We'll handle it from here. But something in us had changed. We weren't waiting anymore. Later that afternoon, Eli got a message. This time not anonymous. It was from Caleb. Meet me at the old gym. No cops. Just you and him. You want answers? I'll give you everything. It wasn't even threatening. Just tired. Like someone who had been carrying too much for too long. I looked at Eli. He looked back. We go together, he said. The old gym hadn't been used in 2 years, ever since the roof leak. Most students avoided it. It smelled like mold and bad memories. We stepped inside. The lights were off. The air was thick with dust and silence. Then a voice echoed from the shadows. Didn't think you'd actually come. Caleb stepped forward. He looked older than last year. Thinner, pale, tired. But his eyes, they still had that same storm behind them. The one Eli remembered from afternoons sketching in silence. "You've been watching us," Eli said. Caleb didn't deny it. "I watched because I couldn't stop thinking about you." He turned toward me. "And then you showed up, and everything changed." "Why?" I asked. "Why the threats? The photos? The fear?" His voice cracked. "Because he moved on. Because he chose you. And I hated that I couldn't even say out loud what I felt." "So you wanted to punish him?" I asked. "No. I wanted him to feel what I felt. The confusion. The shame. The silence." "You could have just talked to me," Eli whispered. "I couldn't," Caleb said. "Not with Coach Harlan breathing down my neck." Our eyes narrowed. "So he was involved," I said. Caleb nodded. "He caught me watching you two once. Said if I wanted to fix myself, he could help. Said you were poisoning the school." "And you believed him?" "I believed I was broken," Caleb said. "So I helped him. Cameras. Access. Hiding footage. But eventually, he didn't need me. He got bolder. And the drone." Eli asked. "That was mine. I thought if I saw you up close again, maybe I'd remember what it felt like to be enough." There was silence for a long time. Then Eli stepped forward. "You weren't broken. You were scared. I get that. But you crossed a line. I know. You hurt me. But more than that, you hurt yourself." Caleb's hands trembled. "I don't know how to fix this." "Then let us help." The police arrested Coach Harlan 2 days later. He confessed quickly. Too quickly. Because deep down, he wanted it off his chest. He'd used Caleb, manipulated him, encouraged him to spy, to monitor, to report back, because he believed that if he cut out the rot, he'd be saving his team, his school, his own twisted legacy. Caleb came forward voluntarily. He gave everything. The footage, the messages, the truth. The school didn't talk about it much. Too messy, too layered. But Adler was officially fired. Harlan was gone. And Caleb, he transferred out of state for counseling. But before he left, he sent Eli one last message. "Thank you for seeing me, even when I couldn't see myself." The story spread, as stories do. Whispers turned to posts. Posts turned to clicks. But for once, we didn't care. Because the fear was over. And what was left was us. A week later, we sat on the same trestle bridge. No cameras. No traps. No secrets. Eli leaned against me, sketchbook on his lap. "I think this one's going to be my best yet." "Yeah. It's going to be called The Boy Who Held My Hand When I Needed It Most." I smiled. "Is it about me?" "It's about us." The stalker is gone. The danger has passed. But as graduation approaches, Eli receives one final letter, a message from someone he thought was gone forever, and it changes everything. It had been 23 days since the arrest, 15 since Caleb left town, and exactly 1 week since Eli smiled without flinching. Things were finally quiet. No more anonymous messages. No more warnings taped to doors. No more fear in every reflection. Just us. Eli. Me. Spring coming on soft and slow. But peace never arrives without scars. And not every story ends just because it's safe to go outside again. It was a Sunday when the letter came. No return address. Just Eli's full name. Written in neat, careful handwriting. At first, he thought it was from his dad. An apology, maybe, an overdue truth. But the second he opened it and unfolded the single page inside, I saw his expression change. Not fear, not confusion, but something deeper. A kind of stunned silence. The kind that only comes when a ghost writes to you. "It's from Caleb," he said. I sat beside him on his porch while he read it again, slower this time. His fingers trembled only once, near the end. Then he handed it to me. Here's what it said. "Eli, I know I owe you 1,000 things, but I only have the courage to give you one. The truth. There was a time I thought we were the same. Two boys who were good at hiding, good at pretending, good at drawing the truth, but never speaking it. But then you stopped pretending. And I hated you for it, not because you were wrong, but because you were braver than me. Everything I did after that came from fear. Fear of what I couldn't face in myself. Fear of the boy who once made me feel seen. You didn't deserve the way I twisted that. You didn't deserve to become my mirror and my monster. I hope someday you'll forget my name. But remember that you never broke anyone. You only revealed what was already cracked. Thank you for holding on. When I let go, Caleb, I finished reading and just stared at the page, unable to speak. Eli wiped his eyes. It's the first time he's ever told the truth. It's beautiful, I whispered. It's broken, he said. But yeah, in a way that matters. We sat there for a while, letting the sunlight warm our skin, letting the letter sit between us like a healed wound. So what we do now? I finally asked. He smiled. We graduate. The last weeks of senior year passed in a blur. School didn't feel like a battlefield anymore. We weren't whispers in the hallways. We were survivors. People talked to Eli again. Some even apologized. Not all of them meant it, but some did. Lily was already planning her film school applications. She promised to make a short film out of our story, with names changed, of course. But not yours, she told Eli. You get to be remembered. On the last day of school, we went back to the trestle bridge one last time. He brought his sketchbook. I brought my camera. We traded tools like tokens. I took his photo under the same tree where we first kissed. He drew my hand, the same one he reached for when he thought everything was ending. You remember the first time I held it? He asked. I remember you didn't let go for a long time. I wasn't ready to. Are you now? He looked at me, not ready to let go, but ready to walk forward while holding on. Graduation day came with heat, speeches, awkward hugs, and too tight shoes. When they called Eli's name, he got a standing ovation, not for his grades, not for his art awards, but because somehow the whole school knew his story now, and maybe in some way it was theirs too. He looked out at the crowd, then looked at me, and smiled. That night, we lay under the stars on the roof again, just like we used to before everything changed. Except this time, we weren't scared anymore. You think we'll still be friends in 5 years? He asked. You think this is just friendship? He laughed. Okay, fair. Boyfriends in 5 years. Still? Definitely. And in 10, roommates. In 15, married. Hopefully, if you're still putting up with me. He turned his head, kissed my cheek. I'll always put up with you. There were still things we didn't know. Where we'd go for college. What our future would look like. Whether the scars would fade or become part of the map we carried. But we did know this. We were seen. We were loved. And we had survived. Together. And all of it started when he held my hand. Have you ever crossed that line with a friend? Like this video, if yes.